So as we head further along in the develop module, what's going on here? There we go. Today I'm going to be talking about color, and I'm going to show you how to use the HSL Color Panel and the Black and White panel in Adobe Lightroom. So stick around. So one of the tendencies we have when we edit is to tweak the colors in our pictures, and a lot of times you'll just raise the saturation slider, and sometimes the sky gets a little too blue, or maybe the foliage is a little too vibrant, or skin tones get a little out of whack. So in the HSL panel inside of Lightroom's develop module, I'm going to show you how to use the different color channels, and I'm also going to show you how to use the same panel for black and white images, and how using the different sliders in the color channels can affect your image. And it's a way to control the different colors in your image without having to affect the whole image globally. You can tweak them, one at a time, and sometimes you get really creative and do some cool things. So it's a panel that Eric and I both use all of the time. The trick is to use it and have your viewer not know you're using it. So we're going to jump to the computer and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm in the develop module in the basic panel. Now there's a lot going on here, and I know I just want to work on the color in this image. So if I want, I can go over here to the left side and get rid of the preset panel, and I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom and get rid of the film strip at the bottom. So now I have a bigger image area to work with. I'm going to be talking about colors here, and this is pretty much straight out of the camera. I haven't affected the color in any way. If you look over here, I lowered the highlights a little bit, adjusted the shadows, the whites, the blacks, and the exposure. But none of the color sliders have been affected. Now, if I wanted to, I could make this a black and white here, or I can make it a color. If we come down here to the HSL Color Panel and open it, you're going to see all of these different sliders for the different color channels inside the image. Now, in the basic panel, if I had chosen black and white, when I came down to the HSL Color Panel, it's gone, and now it just says black and white. And when I click that open, I just have one set of color channels. And so if I take the red color channel, anything that was color, that was red in the color portion of the image, when I move this slider, you can see it getting lighter and darker. If I double click on the word at the end of the slider, it zeroes it out. Let's start with color though. So I've opened up the HSL Color Panel, and you have hue, saturation, and luminance. Now I have them so that they're all open at the same time. If you want, you can use one at a time. So this is the hue, saturation, and luminance, and it's actually probably easier to see if you have a smaller computer. I'm working on a laptop, so when I click all, I actually can't fit them all in. If you're on a desktop, you can have them all open if you want. So if you don't know what these are, hue, basically each color channel, you're going to affect the color. You can change it basically. So if I take the red slider, now you have some flowers in here that are red or have a red tint to them. So if I grab the red slider in the hue panel and move it, you can see they're getting darker red, and here they've turned almost orange. Now when I go to the orange slider, anything that's orange will be affected. So the orange turned red, and when I go this way, it's going to turn them a more yellow greenish, and on down the line. So if you weren't happy with the color of these flowers, you can actually change the way they look. This is good if you have one thing in your image that's a color that you want to change. When you have a lot of the same color, so let's say the green slider. So now there's green, there's a lot of green in this image because of all the plants in the front here. So when I pull it to the right, it makes everything super green, which is a little unnatural looking. When I go the other way, it gives it more of an orangey, yellowy tint. You can give it a little bit of a extra green look if you want the green to pop a little bit. Now we're going to go down to the Aqua Channel,
And there's really not much in here. It affects the sky a little bit. You can see the sky's changing a little bit. Now the blue channel is really going to change, and this is where things can get a little weird, especially in the sky. So if I go to the right, we have a purple sky now, which artistically could be very cool. It might be something you want to do. If I go to the left, it's going to make it like a turquoise, which is also very cool. Now, neither one of these looks real. So I would say be careful when you're messing with the colors in your sky. Try not to get too crazy. I mean, you can if you want to for certain reasons, but it's something you notice right away. When somebody's affected the color in the sky, and not just saturating it, but changing the color, we're all used to seeing a blue sky. You see the flowers in the foreground? I can turn them blue, purple. So you get the idea with this, okay, all the different colors. Now saturation doesn't change the color. It actually saturates it or takes color away. So you're basically adding or taking away color. You're not affecting the way the color looks. So if I take these oranges and pop them up, now this is the same as using the saturation slider in the basic panel. But if I grab the saturation slider here, everything gets oversaturated together and it looks a little crazy. So let's say I just wanted the colors and all the flowers to pop. I could, without affecting the sky, I could kick up the red, the green, the yellow. And even though everything is a little oversaturated at the bottom, the sky still looks natural. So you could get away with this. Or maybe you want to pull down just one of the colors and take away the saturation out of the yellow. So this is where you can get really creative with your images. And it doesn't have to just be on a, this was a good image because there's a lot of color in it, but you can do this with anything. So this is something worth exploring if you want to get creative with your photographs. So this is saturation, okay? And now the last thing is luminance. Luminance is the lightness and the darkness of the color channel. So, and this is one that I use all of the time in the sky, but you have to be careful with it, but watch what happens to the sky if I darken it here. This is a great way to add a nice deep tone to your skies without affecting everything and without oversaturating it. All I did was darken it. And if I go the other way, it's going to make it very light. So this is a great way to change the image. I mean, look at the difference just with this one slider in this image. Completely changes the whole feel of it. So this is one that I use all the time, and this is a good one to learn. The other colors are basically going to do the same thing. You can brighten up some of the colors. I use this a lot, also the green channel. When you're working with trees or in a forest, or if you have a lot of bushes or anything that's, you know, green and growing, I like to lighten this up. And if you look at that quick, it just kind of gives it a little bit more definition when you lighten it up. So you take some of these color channels and brighten everything a little bit. So let's take a look at a before and after. Let me move the blue, make it a little darker, and let's look at a before and after. It's a big difference. So you really can make your images pop by understanding the HSL color panel here. Okay, now, by the way, if you hit the Y key, it'll give you the before and after look. Okay, so here we are with the image without any color adjustments to it again. Now we're going to do the black and white side. So if we come over to black and white, and then we come down here into the black and white panel now, the HSL panel is now black and white, we know that the blue slider is going to affect our sky. We just saw that. So now, if I take this and drop it down, look at all the contrast you have in the sky now with this. Now, if there were a few more clouds in there, you'd see it even more. So in a black and white image, aside from just using your tone adjustments here, like shadows and, you know, the blacks and whites and clarity and these tone adjustments and contrast, head down into the black and white panel here and play around with these color channels, and you'll be able to get some great contrast in the image. Let's see how this looks before and after. So we went from that color image, which was a little flat, to this very interesting looking black and white. One of the things you can do, instead of individually adjusting the channels, you have this little tool here that you can grab. And what you do with this is you click on it, and we're going to bring it over here into the image. And by sliding up and down with the hue, it's going to affect more than one slider because there's more than one color in this spot. So if I just wanted to affect the blue, I could do that. But when I use this tool, it's actually analyzing this area and seeing that there's more than one color in it. And when I move up and down with my mouse, it adjusts that. So if I come down to saturation, and let's just stick it right here in the middle of the green. As you can see, there's a little yellow, a little green in there. But it's not really affecting the red, the blue. So if I wanted to take the green channel and just pull it all the way down, I could do that. And some of the yellow is going to go with it also. So inside Luminance, I can do the same thing. Grab this tool, and it'll affect the sky. And now if I wanted to, I can go right here, and then I could come down here into the green and affect that, and put it on the purple, and it'll just affect the purple. So wherever you're working, you know, you can affect the color wherever this tool is put over. Now, if you have, like I have orange here in the building, there's orange in the flowers. So when I grab this, you can see it adjusted in the flowers also. It's going to find that color wherever it is in the image and adjust it for you. So that's pretty much it for the HSL and black and white panels inside of Lightroom's Develop module.
So that's it. HSL color and black and white panels inside of Lightroom. Next, we're going to start working with lens correction and perspectives and things like that as we head down the Develop module sidebar there and work with all the different tools. If you like the video, please click like. If you like what we're doing here on the channel, please subscribe to the channel for more tutorials like this. And if you have any questions, ask them in the comments. You can ask them about, you know, any problems you might be having with the program. I know it can get confusing. There's a lot going on in there. But we'll try to get back to you. You can ask us here on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, private messages, wherever you want to ask us. Okay, we'll see you in the next one.